What's going on, guys? Alex here with 814 EDC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on the B'yond EDC Contact. Now, this is in for review from the Apex Passaround group, and I have really enjoyed this knife. I was excited for it for a while. It took a while for me to get it in because I had to work its way through the channels, and I have really enjoyed my time with it. I really, wish I could keep it. I might get one in the future. That's how much I like it, and I don't typically say that for every knife that I have in for review from different passarounds, but I really like the simplistic, nature of it. It's a really good design in my opinion. Materials are all good. Action is fantastic. It's a cool knife, and I'm glad that I've gotten to check it out. So this is a Dirk Pinkerton design, and it is a B'yond EDC knife. So from my understanding, you have B'yond EDC, but it's also is asymmetrical, which has like some more budget brands. I don't necessarily know why this is branded asymmetrical, because it is on the website. That's an asymmetrical logo there. It is on the website as a B'yond EDC knife. There's like B'yond EDC asymmetrical, and I cannot remember what the last one is. It's like 3 different levels of knives. You have like sort of the more budget, the sort of medium area, and then the more premium ones. But like I said, this is qualified as a B'yond EDC knife, but it's labeled as an asymmetrical knife. So I'm not 100% sure how they label it or how they decide what they do. But these do go for $186 on the website. I think something like that. Right around that price, which I'll get to it later. My final category, you guys know. But it is a Dirk Pinkerton design, like I said. There is his logo, if you guys can catch that. It is an S35 VN blade steel. It is a sort of an upswept Warney, almost like a Persian style Warney. Beautiful flat style blade, flat grind, comes down to a nice thin edge. Blade stock is sort of, it's a little chunky. It's not super duper thin, but it comes down to a decent thinness behind the edge, nice and sharp. Just a nice straight razor blade right there. On this side, back here you have titanium scales. And you guys can see on the sort of contoured areas right here, there is some micro milling going on, which adds some great texture in hand. And I really like the addition of that to the knife. I think it looks good and it feels good. On this side, you have the same micro milling going on. You have a milled titanium pot clip that is anodized blue. Now, I'm not I don't hate blue. I think it adds a nice kind of pop of color to the knife, but I think I said this in my unboxing too. It would have looked really rad if they DLC coated all the hardware, like the screws, the pivot, and then the blade clip, or the pot clip as well, because I think that would look really good, having everything kind of plain tied out, and then you have black to offset it. I think that would look really good. But for what it's worth, the blue has definitely grown on me. I don't hate it, but it probably wouldn't be my first choice, but it is what it is. It definitely adds a little bit of color on there. Works pretty well too, for being a milled clip and not a deep carry clip. Comes up to about that much in your pocket, which works really well. And from an aesthetic standpoint, I do think it looks pretty good color aside on there. So it is a frame lock, has a lock bar insert. There is some internal milling on both sides. On the show scale side, you have 2 pretty big pockets. And then on the lock bar side, looks like you have also 2 pockets. And this knife is very lightweight. I was very surprised when I picked it up. It's pretty much a feather in pocket and while you're using it. You have dual thumb studs here. The pot clip is not reversible, which would have been nice to see. You do have some sort of jimping back here along these standoffs and backspacer, or there is no backspacer, excuse me. It's on bearings. And I think that's it for materials. The blade is satin, of course. If you guys haven't, realized that, I guess I should have said that before, but S35 VN satin blade with a upswept Warney that functions really well and looks very good. So next up is action. Thumb flick is super duper snappy, flies right out of there. And you really have no blade play. That's what I was really impressed with, is just how smooth this knife is, with having no blade play at all. Now, I was probably the 7th, 8th, 9th, somewhere in that range channel to get this. So it's been used, it's been carried, it's been fidgeted with. So it's really well broken in right now. So I kind of got to experience the broken in version of the knife as opposed to like the brand new knife, which in my opinion, there's, you know, I like experiencing both of those, but I would have to tend to go with the broken in version just because typically they are just so smooth. The thumb flick is very snappy, very satisfying. Comes out with a nice thwack. Middle finger flick, also very, very snappy, very satisfying. The detent is tuned really nicely for this knife. Can't even get, you guys can hear it snapping back into place, but the middle finger flick's nice. You can take your pointer finger if you get it the right way, and it'll fly out like that. And then you guys can see the closing action is really, really smooth. Most of the time it drops to your nail, or it doesn't hit my nail, but the blade tang hits my nail. But then I move it, and all I got to do is really move the body of the knife, and it is closing, guys. Sometimes if you're quick enough, you can, like that, kind of get your thumb out of the way, and it swings pretty much closed. But I have hit my cuticle a few times, and it's definitely caused me to bleed more than once. But it's just, I really like a nice controlled drop like that. Sometimes having like that is, it's fun, of course, but sometimes having a nice, just controlled, like move the knife style of drop is, you know, satisfying, and it's definitely enjoyable. So no qualms at all for the action. The bearings are definitely making this knife sing. I don't know what size they are, but this knife is fantastic in my opinion with the action. See, like that, it just dropped, and it just caught my nail, but it didn't draw blood or anything like that. So action is 10 out of 10. Next up is Ergos. And Ergos are fan-freaking-tastic on this, guys. The handle is fairly neutral. I mean, it's just a straight shot back here. Up here, you do have a little bit of a hump, and then it kind of curves down. You have jimping up top, on the front, and on the back, and then on the bottom, you have it towards the back as well. But you also have that micro milling going on both sides of the top and the bottom, as well as the jimping that extends up here onto the blade. And you know, you don't have a forward finger choil, which would have been maybe a little bit, you know, would have been nice, is what I'm trying to say, to kind of grip up and get into more of a precise type of grip. But even without having a choil, because I typically enjoy choils on the knife, excuse me, on knives, but in this instance, it doesn't really bother me that I don't have one, because there's just a natural restriction point right here. I land right in. I can easily get 4 fingers on there with a little bit of the knife sticking up out. I don't feel cramped or anything like that. And my thumb lands right on the jimping. And it's, I mean, I'm locked in, and this is really, really comfortable. It definitely is probably one of the more comfortable knives that I felt in a while. It took me by a little bit of surprise, just because I wasn't sure how it was going to feel in my hand, how big the knife was. And it's not a huge knife. It's definitely a medium-sized knife, but it's just, it's almost like it was made for my hand. It melts into the hand, very, very comfortable. The pot clip is not sitting proud of the knife at all, so you're not going to be getting hot spots. And you can just get a fantastic Saber style grip on here, hammer grip, any reverse cuts. You can swing it around here like you're going to be slicing and dicing, stabbing, whatever you need to do, and you have a nice landing area if you have to do that for any sort of reason. But you have to do a pinch grip. I oftentimes kind of pinch here with my thumb and middle finger, and use my pointer finger up here as kind of a guide. If you're gonna be ripping open Amazon packages, it's very comfortable. Even the non-milled titanium feels good, has a nice texture to it. Smooth, but not like that smooth where you're gonna be, it's gonna be falling on your hand, because you have that milling going on, and because you have jimping at multiple areas of the knife. So, and that, you know, adds to cutting as well, because the grind on this is, you know, not super duper tall. It comes up to about, I'd say that's about 60% maybe. So you have to get past that. But with a good grip, you can definitely get some good cuts going in. You know, I carried this, pretty frequently after I got it, because I was kind of like, wow, this knife is fantastic. I haven't carried it within the last couple of days just because I've had so many new knives come in. But I cut a little bit of cardboard with it, not a ton. I sliced through like one of the boxes I got in with some of my knife stuff, and I opened a few bubble mailers. And what else did I cut? I think I cut a little bit of rope, because the one day I had to cut, not really technically rope, but twine. And it performed very, very well. I try not to cut too much with the Apex group knives, because you're not, they don't really want you cutting too much with them. But I wanted to try it out a little bit and see how it did. And it performed well, and it's comfortable in the hand, and that leads to a comfortable cutting experience. So awesome, awesome job there. Next up, excuse me, I'm coughing a lot today, guys. Next up is carry. And I have already stated how lightweight this knife is, and it carries, you don't even know it's there. You have the pocket clip that goes pretty much to the butt end of the knife. I mean, you have basically the pocket clip screw sticking about, which is not a ton at all. The pocket clip is nice and, straight, looks good from an aesthetic standpoint, functions well. You just pop it in your pocket. It's not a super big knife, so you don't have a ton of real estate being taken up in your pocket. All the milling makes it super lightweight, and it carries very, very well. I carried it front pocket of my shorts, back pocket of my shorts. I have carried this in gym shorts throughout, the afternoon of being just around the house, going on walks. Carried very, very well in that. There's really, you guys have seen, those of you that have seen a lot of my reviews, I kind of say the same thing for most of my knives. But it's really how my thought process is. Like, if it's a good carry knife, it's a good carry knife. There's not much to say. I feel like there's more to say on knives that are not good to carry and that are too heavy, or stick up out of your pocket way too much, or something like that. Like, if it has a good pocket clip, if it's lightweight, it's probably going to carry pretty well. And the Contact does both of those very, very well, making a carrying experience be very pleasurable. And that kind of is in line with this knife. The action experience is pleasurable. The ergo experience and the cutting experience, very pleasurable. And the carry experience is, again, very pleasurable. Lightweight, easy to go in and out of your pocket. You don't have a flipper tab or anything to catch your hand on. You do have a little bit of jimping here, which might, not necessarily snag your hand, but, get caught in your hand a little bit. But you're just going to brush right past it and come back up out of your pocket. So not a big deal at all. So yeah, carry is awesome. And that leads me to my final category of price point and would I recommend this knife. Yes, guys, I would absolutely recommend this knife if it isn't too obvious by now. I think that the price, I believe on the website, which I will leave linked down below in the description if you're interested. I think I said 186 earlier in the video, but I think it might be at 180. For some reason, I thought it was 186, but the more I got to thinking about it, I think it goes for 200, but last time I looked, there was like a 20% off sale. So it was 180. I will leave a link in the description if you're interested, and they might still have it for sale. As much as I love this knife, I just have spent some money on some other stuff. Maybe in the future, I might run out and grab one, because I really do enjoy this knife, and I think it would be a fantastic addition to my EDC. My watch will work. It's probably been, honestly, I've got to check out a lot of cool knives from the Apex group, but this is probably my most favorite one that I've done so far. It's really simple, it's elegant in my opinion. Very comfortable. Just the Wharncliffe is beautiful. The titanium feels really good. I really, really, really like the internal milling, making it super lightweight. I really, really, really like the milling on the titanium that makes it nice and grippy and have sort of a cool texture to it. So all around, I think that this is a winning knife, guys. I wish more people had, have this knife. I wish more people were talking about this knife. I think Dirk has a, very winning knife on his hands. If you're looking for this style of knife and it's maybe you don't have as much money to spend, or if you want to stay in a budget, I think it's called the Ruffian. It's one of Dirk's newer designs by CJRB. It has a taller blade with a hole in it, I believe, but it looks kind of like basically like this style of blade, kind of an upswept Warney. for like 50, 60 bucks. I've been thinking about getting one to get on the channel. Maybe I will just because I like this one so much. We'll have to see. But if you're interested in this style of design, definitely go check that one out because it's a lot cheaper than this one. Get your feet wet kind of with his style of designs and whatnot. And then if you like that one, maybe you could move up to a Contact. And 180 bucks or whatever it is a great deal, I think, for S35VN, for bearings, for contoured and milled titanium with a titanium pod clip. Killer action, killer ergos, just all around a great knife. So I think Dirk has a great design. I think B'yond EDC has a great product, and I am super, super happy that I got to check this one out. It's one of my favorites, guys. So in the near future, I shouldn't say in the near future. In the future, at some point, I will hopefully own one of these. My thought process is like, this might be a little bit weird to people, but with having the channel, I don't have a ton, I shouldn't say a ton because I still have a decent knife collection for someone my age. I'm happy with it. So, but in my head, I think maybe I could spend that, $180 on a knife that I haven't got to check out that could bring some more content to the channel. So that's kind of how I think. But I definitely will be having this one in my back of my head. Maybe like a Christmas present, a birthday present, something like that. I could ask for this would be a fantastic knife for that. So, but yeah, I'm gonna wrap this video up, guys. This has been my full review on the B'yond EDC Dirk Pinkerton designed Contact. One of my favorites that I've checked out from the Apex group, hands down. So again, this will be linked down below in the description if you guys are interested. Don't hesitate to go check it out. Also, Blue Creek knives will be linked down below. Use code 814EDC for 10% off your purchase at checkout if you're interested in picking up anything from that website. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do greatly appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.